joins us to discuss who is shining among some of college football's best. NHL All-Star Weekend is set to start this Friday, and Pete Blackburn will be there for all of the festivities. But before he makes his way to Toronto, he's got to stop by to talk all things puck. And finally, from one All-Star game to another, the NBA All-Star reserves are set to be announced Thursday. We take a look at some blind resumes to decide who is worthy and who should be left out. That and more, next on The Rally.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Rally. We got the same crew back with us here today. Joshua Perry, I'm Brooke Fletcher, and former Michigan quarterback Devin Gardner. He has been hanging out with us in studio all week, and we've been having a great time. We had a good time before the show, dancing. Doing some videos and,
chicken head. We put did a little chicken head earlier.
Okay.
Josh, you did chicken head. It was good.
I
didn't know you had that in you. I did not know you had the chicken head in you.
A little throwback.
You were breaking it down there.
A little lean with it. Right. You know what I mean? I said, whoa, Josh.
You got to get the little.
The parent?
You know, so you gotta,
the
He's getting ready to be a dad. That's what it is. He's getting ready to be a dad. He got to get his dance moves in
This
order.
is true.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
I know what it is.
Samantha Walkoff, she runs our social media here, and we were trying to test her knowledge from songs of the early 2000s. She passed this time. We tested her before,
You know
but
what
she
she
passed
did,
the flying
though?
colors.
She really didn't pass in my book, because what she did was she lobbied you for however long since the last one. Don't give me hard songs. Don't do R&B. It's got to be stuff I might know.
I did ease up on her. I was soft
so
this
it's
time.
set up for Sam to win.
Hey, you don't say that. You better watch your mouth when you're talking about Sam. I love Sam.
You did great, Sam. We're proud of you. All right, it's time to talk some big trends here, and we got to start in the NBA because Joel Embiid's return to the court didn't go quite as planned Tuesday night. The Sixers star limped off the court early after sustaining an awkward leg injury. Now, this comes after the reigning MVP missed the 2 games prior with a knee issue. So Shams Charania, he joins us now for more on this. Shams, what updates can you give us?
This information just came into my phone, actually. Joel Embiid will miss Thursday's game in Utah against the Jazz. He did not travel with the team today from their flight from San Francisco to Utah. So he's out tomorrow. He's going to fly back actually to Philadelphia, get further testing, further examination on that knee. And it's the same knee that he's been battling through soreness for the last really week or so. The Sixers, Nick Nurse, they all feel that this is different. This injury last night that happened when Jonathan Kuminga fell on that left knee is different, but it has to be concerning. And now Joel Embiid, after missing tomorrow's game, you would expect this could be something that could go even beyond their game on Thursday. This puts him at 4 games away from being ineligible from being league MVP. And for Joel Embiid, you just have to get right. His goals entering the year was competing for a championship and going to the playoffs 100% healthy and being able to impact the team on the floor. And right now, we're already almost at All-Star break, and he's already missed a couple different times of the year where he's been out for an extended period of time.
Dev, would you like to go on this?
I don't know. We thought that he wouldn't be ready to go, and then he's ready to go, and then he gets hurt. I mean, does he just have the worst luck in all of sports? I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
I mean, I think we both know guys who, in terms of health, just couldn't stay out of their own way, right?
Man.
Like everything you knew once they were available, and if they were 100%
they would be
healthy,
outstanding.
Yeah, game changer.
Yeah.
But they get banged up, and next thing you know, it's like, can't count on this dude from an availability standpoint. Certainly a big part of the process to try to win a championship. The process. See what I did there? And so the idea that he's hurt once again, take all the individual accolades out of there, because we know what he's doing on the court. It felt like they were galvanizing, the Sixers were galvanizing toward being able to make a run this year. And it's been a couple of years now where we felt confident in them. And Joel Embiid might not be himself, and that is a problem.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because, I mean, listen, he was competing at an MVP level. There's the expectations there, but you have to find that balance, right? Yeah. Like, obviously, you now with the new rules that you have to play X amount of games in order to be eligible to win an MVP, but at the same time, you got to be smart because you have to think about the Sixers. They can't get over that hump. We know how crucial he is to this team here, but listen, they're 5th in the Eastern Conference, Shams. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. So, I mean, if this is a serious injury in the long run, like, how is this going to really impact the Sixers and their chances of really making a run here?
You have to think about whether you have enough firepower to really compete in the Eastern Conference. But at the end of the day, if you're the Sixers, you just have to hope that it's not anything serious. It has nothing to do with meniscus, ligament. If you can avoid that and it's just an absence of several weeks, a month, etc., then you can at least just get Joel Embiid right for when you need him most, which is the second half of the year, the playoffs. That's what the Sixers and Joel Embiid have been aiming for. So it really just depends exactly how bad that knee injury is, how long he's exactly going to miss. But there's no doubt it's going to affect them in the standings. It's going to affect them in the short term. They're already competing right now for home court advantage. But listen, Cleveland, New York, those are two teams that are surging that are right behind them. And so Philadelphia in the short term is going to take a hit. They just need to hope and make sure that Joel Embiid is not out for the foreseeable future.
Well, and this is where you really test your depth, right? And so sometimes when you're stars and they are out, this is where you need guys to really step up and kind of rise to the occasion here. So we'll see what happens as we, find out more details on the severity of his injury. Shams, you're going to keep us updated there. But let's switch gears here because tonight Damian Lillard, he is making his highly anticipated return to Portland as the Bucks, they take on the Trailblazers. Shams, what can we expect in his return?
First of all, I think he's going to get a rousing ovation. This is someone that you clearly make the case. He could get a statue at one point, definitely going to get his jersey retired, arguably the best Trailblazer of all time. Along with Clyde Drexler, you can make the case. But Damian Lillard owns so many historic marks in Portland. Yes, he asked out. It didn't end well in Portland. We know the back and forth he had with that organization on his way out. He wanted to trade to Miami. Then he gets traded to Milwaukee. So there was some animosity clearly there. There was some feelings there at the end. But Damian Lillard is a forever player. He's a legacy player in Portland. I would expect nothing but an ovation tonight.
That's where I'm at with this thing. We were talking about it this morning in the meeting, and it was like, well, what's the reception going to be like? I'm like, round of applause, right? Like, people are going to be like, hey, Dame, is there any room on the plane back to Milwaukee after the game? Because we'd like to leave too. I think that people understand the situation that Damian Lillard was in. Didn't build a team enough around him. Didn't feel like he had a chance to go win a championship. I don't think fans are sitting over there in Portland faulting the idea that he wanted to get out of there. And I think a lot of people are actually blaming the organization, the front office, for the way that thing eroded to at the end. So those people, I think, are going to be really excited to see him back in the building, watch him play a little basketball.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's always hard for a smaller guy to win a championship. And for you to not put guys around him, especially in a place where a lot of people just don't want to go. They don't want to go and play there. It's not a big market. And you didn't put the pieces around him for him to win a championship. So he, I think, paid all the dues that he needed to pay. And they should be grateful that he was able to bring them so much in Portland.
Yeah, they know that he gave him everything that he had there. But as far as just talking about the impact that he had, not, with the Trailblazers, just the history of the organization. Shams, would you say he's the greatest player in franchise history? I know he's right up there with Clyde Drexler.
You can definitely make the case. I know Damian Lillard, that's not something that he would say out loud, but I definitely think you can make the case that he is the best Trailblazer of all time, given what he's meant to that organization. The longevity he had with that organization, he came in, wasn't expected to do much, and again, he holds a lot of records in Portland when you think about points, when you think about three-pointers made, so there's no doubt you can make that case.
Yeah, and Adidas, they did something that was really nice, just paying tribute to Damian there. They conducted a ceremony and they dedicated their campus basketball court to him, and they call it the Damian Lillard court. So nice. That was kind of cool what they did for him there. But, somebody else that really is making an impact, and that is down there in Dallas, Luka Doncic, man. I mean, he's been playing at an all-time level this season, so much that his head coach, Jason Kidd, said, I'm not going to read all of that, but he basically was saying that he's better than Dirk. He even went on saying that, he should be in the same conversation as Michael Jordan, and said that now is the time to add, and also in other greats in the league here. So with that being said, Shams, the Mavericks, they're looking to make a run here. Should they add some pieces to really help elevate this team and build around Luka?
The Mavericks, from what I'm told, they're continuing to be aggressive in the marketplace. They want to find a four-man, someone that can help them score, bring some offensive firepower in that front court. When you have Luka Doncic, you have Kyrie Irving in the backcourt. Tim Hardaway Jr. has come off their bench. He's been a spark plug, bringing points and offense. But I do think they will be aggressive in the marketplace to find someone at that four position. You think about names like Kyle Kuzma, Jeremy Grant. I expect them to show some interest in both of those players. The question is, at what price point? And that's what we're going to see over the next week.
Yeah, I look at Luka, and I disagree with the idea of the same atmosphere as MJ and LeBron and Kobe. But when you're a coach, I think you have to say those things sometimes. Number one, so your locker room understands 100% how he feels about the star that they have there and what he believes that team can be at some point. But you're also looking at the front office, and you're saying, I think we had a guy in here that is one of the best that's ever played the game. And we have a really good opportunity to win a championship if and only if we build the proper team so they can be successful. Now, they went out, they got Kyrie Irving, again, two of the best players that we have seen, certainly. They need, as Sham said, maybe add another piece there. I think they need better defense. Like, there are a lot of things that have to go this way, but this is a clear message of, if we get this thing right, we're winning.
Yeah, when I first read this, I thought it was blasphemy. Right? Dirk is amazing. Dirk is great. Brought a championship. And then I dove into the numbers. Dirk, to start his career, the first 5 seasons and Luka's first 5 seasons, the stats are mind-boggling. His high is 32 for Luka, and Dirk's high is only 35. And throughout those years, Luka was dominant as an assist man. Their rebounds are comparable. But then you got 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA first team. That's tough. That's for Luka. For Dirk, 2-time All-Star, right? And so obviously, Dirk broke through later and won a championship. But I think he's correct. He is, at this moment, better than Dirk as a player for the organization. However, Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan, that's tough. That's tough. I think he is a generational talent, but I think he has to do a little bit more before you put him in that class. That's aggressive. But I agree. He is better than Dirk right at this moment.
Yeah, especially when Kidd played with Dirk as well, right? And he's Hall of Famer, so he knows. He's been in the locker room with him, and for him to say that about Luka, I mean, that's huge there. But, I want to go back to Shams and just adding, and Kidd was talking about it, just adding a piece around Luka to really take this team to the next level. Doncic, he averaged around, 49 points and 13 assists in 3 games over 4 nights here. And, with Kyrie Irving, he's dealing with a sprained right thumb right now. So Doncic, he rested for a total of only 5 minutes in a back-to-back. So talk about workload. We were just talking about with Joel Embiid. We know how crucial they are to moving these teams forward, but you have to find that balance, right, Shams? You have to make sure that you're not overworking them. So that just really emphasizes how important it is for them to add some more pieces around him to take this team to the next level.
Yeah, when you go get Kyrie Irving, you give up a little bit of depth, and you traded away Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then you kind of are working backwards now. You have the 2-star players, and now the goal is to surround them with the right talent. You go out and get Grant Williams in the offseason. He's been banged up this year as well. So just finding that 4-man that you can bring into that lineup, I think is exactly what they're focused on, and providing both of those players some support.
And I was going over his stat line there in those 3 games over the last 4 nights. Only Wilt Chamberlain has generated more points in a 3-game span in NBA history. He's in good company there. But finally, Shams, the Nets, they are in action tonight against the Suns. So will we see Kevin Durant reunited with Ben Simmons out on the floor?
Kevin Durant will be there. He will play. He'll suit up. Ben Simmons could be there. They could certainly reunite and shake hands. But Ben Simmons will not play in tonight's game. He has a left knee contusion. He just returned from a 2.5-month absence on Monday. Comes in 10 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds in about 20 minutes. But I'm told he now has swelling in his knee that developed after the game, after he got hit. During that return game, testing since has showed no major damage, but he is out tonight. We'll see exactly how long he'll miss. But talent and playing on the floor has never been a question for Ben Simmons. It's about being available and exactly the mindset and his effectiveness when he's on it.
Availability is the best ability there. Joshua, I'm going to let you take this one.
Are we asking too much of him? Like, he comes back, 18 minutes, whatever. He shows us that he's ready to rock and roll. Gets his knee banged up. I mean, he can't help the fact that he got his knee banged up. It's not his back. That's a good thing, right? It's good that it's not his back.
Joshua.
He bumped his knee.
All right, Shams, we're going to leave you with that. We appreciate you taking the time. Good stuff from you, as always. We'll catch up with you later, okay?
Thank you.
All right, the Senior Bowl is going down in Mobile, Alabama. Our friend Clay Harbor, he's going to join us to share his observations from practice. The NBA All-Star reserves come out tomorrow, so we're going to get you ready with some blind resumes of the leading contenders. And Pete Blackburn, he is heading to Toronto for the NHL All-Star Game, so we'll get his plan of attack coming up next here on The Rally. the Rally. Brooke Fletcher here alongside Devin Garner and Joshua Perry. Guys, it's that time of the year where there's no official football games this weekend, but we do have the Senior Bowl going on down there in Mobile, Alabama. So with that, we're going to welcome in Clay Harbor. He is down there with all the action. Clay, good to see you. You've been at practice, so you've seen the guys up close and personal here. So who's really impressed you based off of what you've seen so far?
There's been a lot of people that I've been impressed with. Some I haven't been very impressed with. But the first guy I got to start out with is Tyler Guyton, the 6'7", 328-pound offensive lineman from Oklahoma. This guy, he makes the blind side look small. He is big, and he has a basketball background. He's a wrestling background, and you can see that because for a guy his size, what you typically don't see is a guy that can move. This guy can move side to side. He's physical. He uses his hands. He uses his feet. Not only does he have great footwork, but he's also physical. So this guy, there's been rumors, hearing scouts talk about a guy that's moved himself into the top 15 pretty consistently from the NFL personnel men out here this week.
All right, so that guy he's generating a lot of buzz here. But what's great about the Senior Bowl, it gives some guys some opportunities to really showcase their skill set, even if they weren't being really talked about leading into the big weekend here. So is there anybody else that has really stood out to you that's made you kind of take a step back and say, okay, I see you?
Yeah, there's a couple receivers that I really like. I'm an offensive guy, so I like the receivers, like watching the tight ends. But Ladd McConkey, I know you guys have probably heard a little bit of buzz on him, but he's a receiver from Georgia. And the first play of routes on air, I saw this kid. Okay, this guy can play. I wonder how he's going to do in one-on-ones. We get to one-on-ones, he's just unguardable. He's that slot machine. He's not going to be able to play outside, so that'll hurt his stock a little bit. What I'm hearing from the scouts out here is this guy is an early second day type player. He's very quick. He's got great hands. He's very sudden. He's a guy that has great route discipline. He has great discipline with his eyes. Eyes matter when you're a receiver because it sells your route. So overall, he's been a guy, one of the first guys I saw that really impressed me. 3 years of good production at Georgia, and it is showing now at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey was a guy, watching him at Georgia, obviously had the production there, but they talked about the leadership, the character of the young man. So I think this was a good opportunity for him to actually be in front of the people, too, not just on the field, but in the meetings. But you got a couple other wide receivers out there who are creating a lot of buzz. You got Ricky Pearsall from Florida, and he's got potentially the catch of the year in college football from the past season, hearing a lot of his name. And then the national champion, Roman Wilson, there from the University of Michigan. We see all the clips on social media. So what kind of buzz are you hearing about those guys this week?
Oh, Ricky Pearsall is one of my favorite receivers out here. He's a very impressive guy, too. He's a guy that I think you can move outside, but also a little bit of that slot machine, too. He's done great. For Florida, he's had 3 years of good production. This is his 5th year of college football. He's played really well. Xavier Leggett, this guy had a really impressive day. Started out slow on Tuesday, but Wednesday he came on strong. He had 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns at South Carolina. There's some people that are saying he's kind of a Deebo Samuel type guy, from South Carolina, but this guy is making plays. And then one of my guys that is my biggest sleeper, Jaquan Jackson from Tulane. He had 426 yards and 4 touchdowns only last year, but this guy's tough to guard. He's another guy. If you're looking for a slot guy, that's what I said about Tank Dell last year. He's small, he's skinny, but boy, is this guy hard to guard, and he can catch the football. And when the end of the day, that's what matters. Sometimes they look for these big, pretty guys that can run and do all that, but what matters, can you run? Can you catch the football? Jaquan Jackson from Tulane can do both. And I also want to throw one tight end in there. Ben Sinnott from K-State, Kansas State, 6'4", 250. He runs like a wide receiver. Very impressed with him. He's not scared to block either, so I like him a lot too. Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. Look for him come draft day.
And I want to get back to Roman Wilson, because I know that you're very familiar with him, obviously, with the Michigan ties there, Deb, because this is somebody that really made a case for himself, had an incredible season here, but a lot of people have wondered how his skill set is going to translate into the NFL. So what can this weekend do for a guy like Roman?
I think he gets a chance to run routes, right? Because me and JP talk about it all the time. the entire season, a lot of the stigma was, oh, you're getting schemed open. You guys run the ball so well. When you get big play action, nobody's going to be there when you run your route. So now he gets the chance in those one-on-one opportunities to run routes, and he's done a good job down there. And I'm excited to see how he really does translate, just because he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's proven to be very reliable. And we saw clips from the Senior Bowl at the end of the practice, the compete period, where he has a bad ball thrown to him. I don't know who threw it.
Penix.
Terrible throw. And he reaches back with one hand, running out of bounds, and makes the catch after being wide open.
Yeah, Penix threw that ball to him. Definitely got to work on the accuracy there. I like what you said, because there was a question about what his route tree was. All we saw was deep overs and go routes. But when you're a small guy, too, and you mentioned that size, and we've both seen him in person, he is not big. Releases are going to have to be big, because in the NFL, you get some of these corners, and a lot of people are looking at the corners right now, 6 foot, 6'1", bigger dudes.
Long arms.
If they can get their hands on a guy like Roman Wilson, it'll cause some trouble. And we've seen him look shifty at the line of scrimmage this week.
All right, well, you know, Roman, he's making the most of these practices here and those opportunities, getting in front of scouts and just showing what they can do. But, you know, practice is important, Clay, but the game is what all of these guys, why they are down there in Mobile. So what can we expect from the game this weekend?
Yeah, practice is 100% the most important. You get the scouts on the field. You get the NFL GMs. We saw Ryan Poles out there. We saw several GMs at the practice. But the game's important, too. What you want to see is consistent improvement. That's what you guys are looking for. Can you put together in the game? Had a good week of practice. How do you play in the game in that structured environment, in that team game? Some guys, you talk about basketball, you got some one-on-one players, but they can't play 5-on-5. So that's what it comes down to. How do they play in the game? And I think it's big for the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks, it's tough to get a beat on them right now, because it's all these drills, all these drills, all these drills. In the game, you can really get a sense for who's better than who's competing with who, and who's become the most efficient quarterback in that aspect.
Yeah, and you mentioned those quarterbacks there. I was reading online today, and somebody had mentioned that the national team quarterbacks haven't necessarily been able to get it in gear there. You got some big names, also got some guys who are smaller names. So from what you have seen, who stands out to you personally? And then what kind of buzz are you hearing from some of the scouts down there?
Yeah, you know, I like Penix. He's had some up and down games, and it's tough, but you can really see the talent with Penix. He throws a good ball. He threw a few high and outside today. Bo Nix, you can definitely see the talent. He threw a few low, threw a few in the dirt. Spencer Rattler has been rattled. I feel like he hasn't played well. But those are the three guys that I say are on top of the game. I really like Penix. It's tough to come in. You haven't had much time throwing to these receivers. You don't know the playbook, and to complete these passes for a quarterback, it's a pretty big deal, because you're not familiar with the route tree. You don't know exactly what's going on. You don't know what coverages they're throwing at you. So that's tough. And then as far as hearing the buzz from the scouts, a couple other guys I think I need to mention would be Jackson Powers Johnson. You can't talk to any scout, to anybody, without hearing Jackson Powers Johnson's name. Have you ever heard of the Remington Award? That was the guy that won it. The nation's top center, and he is everything he was built out to be. This guy is big. This guy is physical. This guy can move. I really love him as a player. Then my small school sleeper, UConn, Christian Hayes, he was a guy that came in. They didn't know if what position would he play. Is he center? Is he guard? He's proved he can play both guards. He's playing left. He's playing right. And he is dominating out here for a small school guy from UConn, going against guys that have Texas on their helmet, Alabama on their helmet, Georgia on their helmet. He has really held his own. And then defensively, Quinton Mitchell is a guy that's really flashed and impressed a lot of people out here as well. So overall, there's been a lot of guys that have helped their draft stock.
Yeah, the good stuff from our guy Clay Harbor, who is down there in Mobile, Alabama this weekend, getting us all set for the Senior Bowl. Clay, great to see you. We'll see you next time. All right, coming up, guys.
Good to see you guys. Thank you.
Guys, we're going to talk some NBA All-Star reserves, because they come out tomorrow. So we're going to help determine the teams next with our blind resumes. That's coming up next here on Rally. back to the rally, everybody. Brooke Fletcher here, Joshua Perry, Devin Gardner. Guys, NBA All-Star Reserves comes out tomorrow, so we're going to discuss some guys that could potentially make the team here, but of course we're going to put a little spin on it with a blind resume. So you guys ready? Let's take a look at the first one. Both Eastern Conference guards here. So player one, around like 27 points per game. Okay. Pretty comparable numbers, but do you guys have an idea maybe of who they could possibly be?
No, I don't. Yeah, but the number is definitely comparable. You got a little bit more efficiency out of player one. Player
Win
two,
shares.
you know, dishing the ball out there.
Give him more points for his team.
So it looks like one's win shares here. One's probably on a really competitive team. Maybe the other one not so much.
Sure.
So
First one's throwing the three ball up there too.
Eastern Conference.
you want to
Who we got?
You wanna
Trae Young
reveal?
to the right, Trae Young to the right.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Yeah.
What gave you the idea that it could possibly be Trae Young?
The win shares, right? Not a very good team. And then his points to assist ratio, he's doing a lot for his team. So I thought that it would be him.
All right,
Nice
let's
job,
break
Trae.
down some more Eastern Conference guards here. Blind resumes. All right, so the one on the left, player one, averaging a little bit more points per game here.
No doubt.
Field goal
More
percentage,
efficient.
yeah.
A
little more efficient.
Three ball though. 40%.
This is tough.
I know. Devin,
Drew Holiday to the right.
Mr. Blind Resume.
Close. Close.
You got like a Derek White.
They're both on the same team.
I wanted to say
There you
Jaylen
go.
Brown over there too.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was gonna put him as a guard, but he's a
Dang.
guard.
Talk about Derek White though. Like the resurgence that he's had.
You know what it was?
Yeah.
Don't say it. It's not because he shaved
He
his
played
head.
really
It's
good
because
the
he
night
shaved
before.
his head.
No, it's
100%.
not.
I
Yes, it
agree.
is.
Because
No,
you got a
it's
lot
not.
of
I knew that
emotional
was
stuff where you're
coming.
thinking about your hairline a lot.
That's what
now
I'm saying.
He's free.
Bro,
he is free.
We had the
He
hairline
was balling
conversation
when
yesterday,
he was
and
balling
he
before.
was.
No,
But
he
now
wasn't
we talking
balling. He's
about
balling
potential
now.
Or
all-star.
aerodynamic.
All-star.
Run it
You
down
get
the
that bald head, and you know
Yeah.
Shaq's not gonna be clowning you because you bald now. You're good. He was bald. It's all
Okay.
He
good.
got clowned by one of the all-time greats for his hairline. That's
Literally,
wild.
they couldn't even do the segment.
Yeah, I mean,
Bless
It was
his heart.
all about the hairline.
Bless his heart. Okay, let's get over to the West here. A couple of backcourt options. Okay, let's take a look.
all right.
Points per game, the exact
Steph Curry
same.
to the
Around
right.
assists, around the same too. And their teams are pretty comparable here.
Steph Curry
Any
to the
idea?
right. And
I have no idea.
Why
who
do you
that
think
is.
Steph Curry?
with a 27.5, that's about where he is. And then the three-point percentage, right?
40%.
Shooting the ball really well from
Yep.
three. His field goal percentage, he always does a nice job there.
Yeah, but like, okay, this might shock
I
you here
know.
because not many people, because I have the answer, because I am the host. People are talking about him, but when you look at the numbers compared to one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, like,
Oh, so I'm right?
yes, you are right. That is
So,
Steph Curry.
who's player one then?
Reveal.
He sure did.
I can see that. He's a
okay.
good.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
proven to be a dynamic player. Man.
Yeah, he has.
Love the lefty.
All right, good for De'Aaron Fox there. It is. That's why I love the blind resumes because it's
hammering
like
these
when you
dudes.
look.
I know.
When you just
are they
focus on the
still
numbers
doing that
there.
stupid beam though in Sacramento, or did they get
here
rid
we
of that
go.
thing?
We almost
Leave
got through a
their beam
segment talking about
alone.
Sacramento without you mentioning the beam. Now they're going to
No,
come
I'm just
after
asking
you.
the question. Are they still doing the stupid beam?
I don't know. I guess we'll never find out. But you know what? Pete Blackburn. He's going to come and hang
Okay.
out with us on the other side of the break
Horns
because
down
he's
for
getting
Pete.
ready to head to Toronto for the NHL All-Star Weekend. He's going to get a set for that. That's coming up next.
You said horns down for Pete?
Horns down for Pete.
Welcome back to the rally. Guys, let's talk some pucks because NHL All-Star Weekend is upon us. And so, you know who's going to All-Star Weekend? No surprise here, Pete Blackburn.
Hi, Pete.
He's our NHL insider, and he is one of the hosts of What Chaos podcast. It's really good, by the way. Check it out. Pete, great to see you. I know you're getting ready to go to the All-Star Weekend. It's like this is the best weekend for you. What's your plan of attack?
I don't have one, and that's kind of the beauty of it. I'm just going to go and embrace the chaos. It's probably the most chaotic weekend of the NHL season, at least for like the media. It's a free-for-all out there. So, I'm going to get some sit-down interviews, going to kind of see if I can shake some hands, kiss some babies with celebrities, things like that. The fact that Bieber, Tate McRae, Michael Bublé, and Will Arnett are there as celebrity captains, like, it seems like it's going to be a fun, sort of bigger event this year than in years past.
Okay, so you mentioned kind of, what you're looking forward to there this year in Toronto. You were there in South Florida last year. So any other differences that you're expecting in terms of All-Star Week?
I mean, the weather. Last year it was in Florida. Now it's in Toronto. So it's definitely going to be a different vibe. Last year we had media day outside. I was hanging out at Elbow Room basically every night and saw the Kachucks there. Like, I think that it's going to be a colder vibe in terms of, the weather, but it's in Toronto this year. So it's sort of a bigger hockey market. And like I said, there's going to be the celebrities there. They're doing it up pretty big because it's in Toronto, because there's a lot of attention being spent on it this year. So it should be a fun event.
Well, with all the celebrities that go in, Pete, we got to make sure you are ready to dress to impress here. The fit needs to be on point. Now, we saw the outfit that you wore last year here. Really fit the location, obviously the tropical climate. So what's the fit going into this weekend? We got to know.
It's not going to be that spicy, I'll tell you that. That was me kind of at my best, embracing the beach, and like it was really hot last year. It was about like 90 degrees, probably the hottest weekend of the season in January in Florida. So it's probably not going to be anything special with the outfits this year. I'm going to let the content speak for itself.
Now, Pete, what has been the thing that surprised you most from first half of the NHL season?
There's been a lot. This has been a crazy NHL season, and I think that you don't have to look much further than the season that the Oilers have had in the first half. They started out the year as one of the league's worst teams after opening the season as one of the Stanley Cup favorites. They got to the point where, Connor McDavid wasn't looking good. Everything was kind of falling apart. They fired their coach. It looked like it might be a lost season. And fast forward to now, they're going into the All-Star break, having won 16 straight games. They've got an opportunity to set an NHL record right on the other side of the break for the longest winning streak of all time. Connor McDavid back in the mix as one of the NHL's best players. This turnaround from Edmonton has been insane, and it's just been one of many things that's been chaotic and very fun about the first half of the NHL year.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned Connor McDavid, because obviously making headlines for what he's doing on the ice, but also for something that he said, too. He told ESPN he was talking about his wedding, and he said this: Connor McDavid is responsible for getting his guys dressed and down the aisle. That is all. We took care of that this morning, had a call this morning with the guys that'll be dressing us up. So he referred to himself in third person. Did you take him for that kind of guy, Pete?
Not really. I think my bigger takeaway here, though, is that he does scream like the kind of guy who is going to do the minimal amount of work in planning his own wedding. I'm surprised that he even dressed his guys as part of his wedding. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of Connor McDavid's house. I think his fiance is an interior designer, and like a very kind of modern interior designer. Their house is like, you can tell whose fingerprints are all over that house, and they're not Connor McDavid. So, no, I didn't pin him as referring to himself in the third person, but that's a nice little surprise, I suppose.
Now, I haven't planned a wedding, but I would imagine that, especially if you're saying how good of an interior designer she is, that he's like, listen, I'm going to stick to what I know best, and that's hockey, and I'm going to let you kind of take the reins when it comes to the wedding planning there. But, and I guess when you're Connor McDavid, you can kind of refer to yourself as third person. I think he's kind of earned that right. Should we have more athletes refer to themselves as third person, or is he just the exception?
Well, I mean, I think it's a privilege, right? Like, Connor McDavid's allowed to do that because he is probably the most talented hockey player that has ever played the sport. If you have like a fourth liner going out there referring to himself in the third person, the general reaction is going to be like, what the hell is this guy doing? Why is he doing this? He's trying to command attention where maybe he doesn't deserve it or he doesn't need it. Connor McDavid at this point his resume is so impressive that he's allowed to do that. He can get away with it.
All right, Pete, got to ask you about a discussion we were having here on the show earlier this week. Texas fans, a little bit emotional. Some of them calling us unintelligent. We're not really mad about it, but we're going to take the time out of our day to tweet back at you to tell you that we're not mad about it. Why are Texas fans so hot over this horns down?
I mean, imagine that there was a hand so I could throw a finger in your face and just disrespect the entire program that you attended in college and basically said, I don't respect anything about you. I don't respect anything about your program. And there's one hand signal that can do that. Although, like, the flip side of that is that enough people care about Texas and about hating Texas that they go out of their way to try to rub Texas fans and Longhorns fans the wrong way. That's when you know that Texas is officially and truly back. Texas is back.
See, take it as a compliment,
no,
right?
there is something to this, right? Because the thing that I like about it is I know that Texas is a big fan base. So I can piss a ton of people off when I do that.
Right.
And it's like,
that's your whole existence.
Well, you know it is. But you know from being a Wolverine how people like to do that with Michigan. Same thing with Ohio State. Auburn takes it as well. So, Pete, you are a lucky fan here because you know people want to get a little bit of that reaction with the horns down.
We knew
right. It's better to be hated than be irrelevant.
Right. And we knew
that's all I'll say.
Exactly. We knew as soon as they were making a big deal out of it that we were like, well, everybody's going to get on board here with the horns down. But listen, Pete, we said that obviously you were the host of What Chaos, a great podcast there. And so you do love some chaos. We know you well enough. The trailer for the movie Roadhouse came out this week and we saw Conor McGregor. He's in it. And this guy, he's all about chaos. So, I mean, do you think we're ready for this type of movie here?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not unprecedented, right? Like, The Rock is a big-time actor. Dave Bautista is a big-time actor. John Cena is cutting it up in the movies right now. Like, it's a big generation for martial arts and kind of like these wrestler types turning their careers post-retirement into film and into acting. And so is Conor McGregor the next guy? I don't know. I'm excited about his role in this movie. I think that the Roadhouse remake looks pretty interesting. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. So I'm absolutely for the chaos, whether it's good or bad. I just hope that it's not like somewhere in the middle and we're like, that was just forgettable.
Yeah, you got to go full send, especially if you have Conor McGregor in there. All right, Pete, we appreciate you taking the time. Have fun at All-Star Weekend. Make sure you're posting all the content on the socials because we're going to be looking, all right?
Yeah. Keep those horns up. Thank you very much.
There you go, Pete. All right, guys. Well, NHL All-Star Weekend is upon us, and so is Super Bowl weekend. It's getting closer. And, Devin, it's your last day here.
It is.
Until
Ever?
No, just for a while. But we can't let you get out of here without talking about a Super Bowl.
Oh, yes.
Right? We got the 49ers. They're taking on the Chiefs. And so we're going to play a little game to talk about the big matchup. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Can you describe this matchup in one word?
Inevitable. Patrick Mahomes is.
Elaborate.
Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes. When he's in these types of opportunities and these atmospheres, he's been there before. He's proven over and over again not to bet against him. I will not, and so I think the victory for the Chiefs is kind of inevitable.
Do you have a word?
Yeah, I would say Titanic. And what I mean by that, it's like a Clash of the Titans, right? Because as much as, to your point, we thought Kansas City might have fallen off. They got the best quarterback in the game right now, one of the best that's ever played it. They got the best tight end that possibly has ever played the game, and they got a defense that is out there smashing people. Flip side of that, the Niners have been building toward this, and you can make a legitimate argument that last year if Brock Purdy did not have the elbow injury, they might have been in the Super Bowl playing the Chiefs a year ago. Clash of the Titans.
I'm going to say anticlimactic because these are two teams where people kind of expected them to get here. They were the front runners, especially with the Chiefs and how they were playing this postseason. Why are you laughing?
Just go on.
What?
Just go on.
No,
Just move forward. Move forward. Continue the game.
You can't laugh at me on TV.
I'm not laughing at you.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at my next answer, okay?
All right. Describe Andy Reid in one word.
In and out. I know, it's 3 words. I know, that's why I'm laughing. I know it's 3 words, but I'm saying in and out like the burger, right? In and out burger, right? It's so consistent. there's only a few options, and it's always good. And that's what Andy Reid is. And not to mention, he loves burgers. He loves himself a good burger. They bought him one for his birthday in a shoebox. Andy Reid's consistency has been amazing. And then he gets a generational quarterback, and you see what he's capable of. He was great with the Eagles. He was great with the Chiefs before Patrick Mahomes. And then you get that generational quarterback, and he's taken off like no other. Consistency for him in and out.
I'm going to go folksy for Andy Reid, right? Like, we know what he is as a football guy. I think he's more intriguing off the field. You know, you see him standing there on the sideline. He's got the snot sickles in his mustache. And
That's gross.
after the game, they're talking about, what do you want to do? He wants to go to In-N-Out. He wants to eat a burger.
He wants a burger.
This is what he wants to do. He's wearing the
doing good
Hawaiian
burgers.
shirts. They do, like, the annual photo with all the coaches in the offseason. He's dressed like he's getting ready to go to some sort of resort out there in Hawaii while the rest of these dudes are in their little quarter zips and their polos. Like, he's just a real simple kind of like, you know, I'm not a coachy coach kind of guy. I'm a different type of coach.
All right, how about Deebo Samuel? Describe him in a word.
Dog. And I'm not talking about like D-O-G. I'm talking about D-A-W-D-G. Dog.
Dog.
D-A-W-G. Dog. I mean, his ability to change the football game and kind of alter the way the defenses play is amazing, right? In the slot, on the outside, reverses, between the tackles, from the running back position. I'm sure he can throw it as well. He is the ultimate weapon, and he reminds me so much of Percy Harvin. If Percy Harvin doesn't have migraines, I think this is exactly who he would be. Deebo Samuel is a dog.
Yeah, X factor is the word for me. I think that he dictates defense more than any other player in the NFL that is a non-quarterback. What he can do, where he lines up, how they utilize him. You mentioned pass game, you mentioned run game. They could put him outside, they could put him single side, they could put him in the slot, they could line him up in the backfield. And as a defender, he manipulates what you do, and that is a game changer, an X factor.
Yeah, he's going to make things tough for this Chiefs defense in the Super Bowl here. But same with Kyle Shanahan, man, with his offensive schemes and what he's been able to do with this team. So how would you describe him in one word?
Brainiac. He's a guy who, he was like one of those early iterations of like that young mind, that offensive coordinator. Hey, let's give him a chance to be a head coach, see what he can do. And he does such a great job designing plays, putting his players in position to be successful. So many times we see coaches just go out there and I'm going to do my stuff and my stuff needs to work and it doesn't matter who's doing it, it should work. He is a guy that understands it's about the players. It's about who, not what. And he finds a way to put his players in the right position every single time, it seems like.
Yeah, the word for me would be wizard because of all the things that you said. I think he is really good when it comes to the X's and O's. I think he's great at adjusting to what the personnel does well. He has been able to win with multiple quarterbacks that people would not call generational, and I think that's a credit to what he does. But also, they do well on defense, and whoever he hires as a defensive coordinator, he gives them the blueprint of what he wants it to look like, and those guys go out and execute it. So definitely excited about that. I also saw that we skipped the Chiefs' defense for our word association.
We did because I was told.
My word was underappreciated, by the way. And you don't appreciate him enough to even do him for the word association, Brooke.
And I said surprising, and I'm surprised that you would disrespect them in the way that you did.
You can't blame me. Blame the people in my ear.
See, underappreciated.
Morris.
Yeah, you are.
Morris goes, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
yes, you are.
are.
They're going to talk. Yeah, and I'm taking all the brunt of it down here.
Right.
Anyways, Devin, you got a trip coming up. You're going to Egypt.
I'm going to Egypt.
Yeah, that's so random.
And
but
Paris.
we're really excited for you.
I've always wanted to go to
coming
Africa.
Yeah, so coming up, we're going to give you a list of things to do when you head to Cairo. All right, that's coming up next. the rally. There are more reports out of college football, and that is up in Boston College. There's reports coming out that head coach Jeff Hafley, excuse me, thank you. He is leaving Boston College to become the new defensive coordinator for the Packers here. And if you take a look at his record the last 4 years as Boston College, he's gone 6-5, 6-6, 3-9, 7-6. So are you kind of shocked by this move?
I'm shocked at how late this is coming, as a matter of fact. And I'll tell you right now, Jeff Hafley was on the hot seat at the beginning of the college football season, and they had a better season than expected. So Boston College is like, you know what, we're going to ride it out with this guy. Known Jeff Hafley for a little while. I think he is a wonderful coach. He's coached in the NFL before. I think he'll be fine as a coordinator. I got a text from somebody in the coaching profession today asking me if I had heard any buzz about this potential move. And basically what happened was Jeff Hafley started interviewing for this job. You know, coaches are texting him, what's up? Hadn't really heard back. He hadn't been on the road recruiting. And now we are in a spot where we're closing in on February, and the Boston College is going to be looking for a new head coach. There are going to be some coaches that might not be retained on that staff, might not get a job for the upcoming season because a lot of staffs are already full.
Oh, man.
And the portal's opening up. And he just wrapped up recruiting guys to come to BC from out of the portal for the winter. So big mess.
Dev, what's your take on it?
I mean, he might just be the guy that's a much better coordinator than a head coach. I mean, I just think that that's okay. And everybody always frowns. Oh, he's not a good. No, he's probably a good coordinator, maybe just not a great head coach.
Well, what does this mean for their quarterback, Thomas Castellanos? He has had a great season last year. So what does this mean for him and impacts his future?
He might be in the spring portal. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, like this is the question now. When head coaches leave college football, is what happens to your roster? If you're a player, do you want to stay there? And this late in the game, like who does Boston College pursue to be their head coach? It's not a top tier job. It's difficult to recruit there.
Jason Candle maybe at Toledo, right? It's a step up for him.
Would you leave Toledo
to go to
Boston College of all places?
I know, but
Jason Candle, I would go after him, no doubt.
Hey, he's a really good coach.
Really good ball coach. Yeah. But if I'm him, I'm not leaving.
Hey, Bill Belichick's looking for a job.
Holy hell.
Hey, Boston. Cool.
I know, he wouldn't have to move.
Wouldn't have to go anywhere.
Hey, nice change of scenery there.
And what if he just
Go to
brings them
college
back
football.
and they're like, brings them two, I guess, and he's there dominant.
Right?
That'd be great.
I like this. I think it's a great
Tom Brady
move.
is not in that locker room. He is not on that roster.
I would agree there. All right, Dev, you got a big trip coming up.
Got my
You're
notes.
heading
Got my
to
notes.
Egypt, and based off of what you told us this morning, you're just winging it. You don't have a
ain't got no
plan.
plan.
Who travels abroad and just wings it? Not
Me.
many people.
That'd be me.
Apparently. Yes. So we got a list of things that you can do.
And I
you
have my
got your
pen and I
notes
have my
out.
notes,
All
yeah.
right. Well, the obvious here. The
Of course.
pyramids. You got to see the Great Pyramids. What do you say, Joshua?
I would say.
My hotel room is actually, you can see the pyramids from my hotel room, so that's good. But I'm going to get a closer look like you guys suggest.
Will you take a picture because I kind of want to see just the size ratio. I really want to.
Will I take a picture, Brooke?
I
You've
know.
seen
Can I
my
ask a
Instagram. Come
question
on.
here?
What's up?
The way I've always envisioned the pyramids is that they are like remote and not near hotels where you could really see them like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Nope, you can see
The
them.
city's near them.
Damn,
You
I don't
learn
know
something
nothing.
new every day, Joshua.
That's
I got you,
crazy.
dog.
Appreciate
How
you.
about food? Because we know that you're a big foodie here.
I do love food.
Will you eat a kebab or maybe a shawarma of
Oh, no,
sorts?
I do that here, but I'll sure get
but
it
we
where
know
it's
it's
supposed to.
better
Yeah,
over
that's what I'm
there.
saying. I'm a kebab.
Okay. How about the Nile River? One of the most famous rivers in the entire world.
The Nile's important.
The beautiful Nile.
I have to go to the Nile.
Are you-
Denial?
Do I go
Are
to
you
the
not?
Nile?
You're in denial?
No, I want to go to the Nile. If I go, do I go or do I get on? Do I do like one of those? Whoa, never mind. Not going to the Nile.
I
Nile
was
is
going
off
to say,
the
there
list.
might
Not
be
with
some
that.
crocodiles
Nope.
in the Nile.
Nile
You got
is
to keep your head on a
off
swivel
the
there.
list. No Nile.
Yes, we
No Nile.
want you to come back in one piece. Will you watch The Mummy as a way to prepare yourself on the visit? It's a long flight.
That is a good. This is why we're doing this. That's so smart. I didn't think of that.
We're here for
Watch The Mummy.
Now, last question. Are you going to get us gifts?
You guys send me what you want. I got you.
Great.
Surprise us. You're a good
See,
gift
I don't
giver.
like that. You want me getting anything?
I'll text you
That's
something.
what I'm
I'll
saying.
look it up. I'll see what's popular
Talk
there.
about some surprise me.
Thought this was for me, but I guess it's for you.
Put some
Get
thought into
gifts.
it, Dev. And don't use a coupon.
Right, like what is that? See, yeah, this
Wait,
is the
were you
garbage I'm talking
mocking me?
about. Oh yeah, we were mocking you for sure.
Okay, we have time to go take a quick trip across the Rallyverse to prepare Devin for his trip to Egypt. All right, we got the Mavericks. They're taking on the Timberwolves. You can catch that one from Minnesota. Minnesota is the land of 1,000 lakes. Do you think anyone has ever been to all of them?
Yeah, of course.
You think?
There's
There has to
somebody
be some guy
who was
some
like, my
person-
bucket list is to
Yeah.
go to all these lakes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
like have like a stamp of badge of honor about it. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely somebody.
Okay, better animal to snuggle with, because this is the Timberwolves and the Mavericks here. A horse or a wolf?
Wolf takes up too much
I would
space.
say a horse.
A horse
A
as
horse
well.
takes up-
What are you
horse as
talking
well.
about? Okay.
But horses are much nicer, right? A wolf is gonna eat you in your sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, not unless it's a nice wolf.
No, there aren't any nice wolves.
I
don't
would
know
go
that.
with the horse,
I do.
personally.
Give me the horse.
What would you go with?
Horse.
I would go with a horse,
Give me the horse.
as well. Well, Dev, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us this week.
Come on, guys. Come on. You know
Have
it.
fun on your
Come on.
vacation,
Deep breath.
guys.
Come on.
We'll see you tomorrow. Ow.